Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a very special topic. We're going to talk about getting a sponsorship job in the UK after a master's or an MBA. If you don't know me, my name is AB and welcome to my channel, Learn with AB. I make videos on career tips, working as a business analyst in the UK for migrants. That's my main, field, migrants, because I'm a migrant in the UK as well. Today we have a very special guest who has gotten a sponsored job in the UK. I'm going to let him introduce himself. His name is Obi. So Obi, introduce yourself to us, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Obi and I am an operations business analyst at a fast moving consumer goods industry. My background would be, I did my MSc at Aston Business School, where I majored in information systems and business analysis. And currently, just like I said prior to this, I'm a business analyst and I'm working in the UK.
Yes. So before we go in, Obi got a sponsored job. And that's a big ticket for a lot of people currently coming to school in the UK. This is September season, so we're getting a lot of graduations and then we're getting a lot of new intakes coming into the UK for their masters. We also have a lot of people who want to apply. And I know that Obi was very intentional when he was trying to find the course and the school to go to for his masters. And this in turn helped him when he was applying for a job. And he eventually landed a sponsored job. So I'm bringing the tea to all you students who are currently looking for a sponsored job in the UK. Obi's going to tell us how he did it. I have a couple of questions on my trusty iPad today, and we'll go through those questions and he'll answer as best as he can. So let's go. My first question is, we have a lot of students coming into the UK who intend on getting a sponsored job, like I said. And what influenced you, Obi, to decide to study the course that you study and the uni that you went to?
Okay, what influenced me basically was I always have a kick for finding solutions. Mm-hmm. And during my period of understanding how to actually put myself out there and venture into the real world of solving problems, I investigated various countries, of which one was England and the other was Canada, but looking at how soon I can be able to achieve my dream. England was basically the one which was more of a priority to me, because within 3 months you can easily have your papers sorted out and school fees paid. So coming to England, I had to research because everything is keenly based on research. And for England, there are two sectors that are heavily job reliant, and also they always seek for professionals, of which one is IT and the other was healthcare. I am no healthcare professional from anywhere, so I knew it had to be IT related. So I went back to my drawing board, drew a plan, identified a course, and here I am.
I like that. You heard it here first. Research, research, research. In one of the videos I did, which I'll link, talking about 5 top tips to going for an interview, research was definitely on that list. So like Obi said, you have to research. You don't just do tumban and pick a school. You have to make sure the country, the school, the course, everything you're doing all comes together and you have a purpose. You're not just picking it to come and play. I mean, the amount of money you spend on school fees nowadays is so high that you cannot just take a chance. You have to plan, research, and plan again. So I know one of the things that influenced Obi getting a job as well was his dissertation topic. Obi, can you tell us a little bit about your dissertation topic and how it had an impact in your job hunting as well?
Okay, yeah, interview for me, I don't see it as a one-way stream of communication. It's always an end-to-end kind of thing. It's a spectrum because whatever you give out is what your recruiter or hiring manager gives out to you in form of a question. So just like I said, I had a plan, and prior to that, I was working at a fast-moving consumer good industry as well. So that as well helped me in getting this role. And it also influenced my dissertation tremendously because I came in during the COVID pandemic. So we're all indoors and industries were actually stretched when it comes to supply chain. They actually had the means of making supply chain resilient, but nobody foresaw pandemic. So my dissertation was actually focused on the healthcare sector, reimagining the strategic infrastructure of supply chain in the healthcare sector industry, and making sure that it applies generally to the whole world.
Oh, I must say, I like how you took advantage of the situation that was happening in the world at that time. Was this a topic you've always had an idea you wanted to do, or was it, like you say, because of COVID that you decided to work on this topic?
Yes, I would say primarily because of COVID and where I was working at that particular point in time because we had issues sourcing for produce to send out to customers. And we had so much backlog. So within them and within the team, they were always looking for means to make their supply chain more resilient. So I took that up. But instead of focusing on fast moving consumer goods, I focused more on what was a reality, which was healthcare. Medical goods supply chain was, really, really stretched. So it's influenced my dissertation.
I mean, I guess the solution must be something that could be used across the different industries, because even though you propose for healthcare, eventually it was used in a consumer company. So, I mean, that makes sense.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's go into what I know a lot of people want to know. What was the job searching experience like? How long did it take you? Was it like a bunch of interviews every day saying, I can do more than I did? How did it
I can go over and beyond.
I go over and beyond. Like, how was the job interview for you in the UK?
That's a good question. My advice would be don't start applying late. Don't wait till the end of your dissertation to start applying for jobs, because applying to jobs is actually a job on its own. You can't just wake up and start freestyling, sending out applications here and there on LinkedIn, Indeed, because you might just wake up one morning and you get loads of calls, and when they call you, be like, did I apply to this place? So I really took my time before I actually had a plan. I had a roadmap on how to achieve my goal. I knew that my primary purpose of coming to this country was, first of all, to complete my master's and as well graduate in flying colors, of which I did. So I focused more on my master's. Then at the tail end of my program, where I had already had my dissertation, I would say roughly 95% to 90% complete, I started testing the waters, sending out CVs, making applications, getting, the reach out calls from the recruiters where they ask you basic questions to know if you suit the job description that they have out there. So I tested myself, and at the meantime, I had to, resit, then ask myself, really, am I ready to get onto the job market? So I did a soul search. And when people ask me about that, and I tell them, maybe try, going for a soul search to actually know if you are qualified. And I just took my time off, prepared, took up an internship program which wasn't paid, but it was for a work experience and for a company here in London, where we were tasked with delivering an IT system which was actually implemented for the company. So I did all that, had the experience prior to the little experience that I had in Nigeria. So it definitely helped me to get to my present status.
That's very good. I have a couple of questions from what you're saying. So first of all, you said you sent out your CVs.
Of course.
When you say you sent out your CVs, did you use any job set tool? Did you use LinkedIn, or were you just sending out your CVs to actually like direct companies?
I started initially by using job boards because yes, my school had a job board, Aston Job Fair, something like that. Every university here has that because their own intention is not just making sure that you are academically qualified. They need to get you into the system. They need you as a statistics to prove that their course is actually delivering its value. So I started with the job board with my school, then I expanded my horizon by making use of other job boards. But at the end of the day, I realized that I was overwhelmed because one thing with the job board is you put out your CV there, they outsource them to numerous vacancies or job openings. So you might just wake up one day from your sleep, or you might be, you could just receive calls and you don't know where your CV actually is. So I stopped doing that. I now focus mainly on CV library, Indeed, and LinkedIn. I tried out the three of them, but where I recorded my success was on LinkedIn. It's actually a good tool if you get to know how to set the filters, set your proximity. Make sure that one key thing is don't apply to jobs that have been submitted maybe last 1 hour. Set your search to jobs within 30 minutes, or any job role that you see within 1 hour, maybe 25 applicants, because what they do is they submit on Indeed, they submit on LinkedIn, they submit on CV Library, they submit on numerous platforms. So by you seeing that job opening for 1 hour, they must have gotten thousands of applicants. So I filtered, then slept on LinkedIn. I worked on my CV. So how I got mine was, I think I happened to be online. So I was just refreshing. So immediately I saw a job opening and I read the job description and I felt comfortable and confident that I can actually deliver on this. I sent out my application and immediately I did that. The recruiter who just posted that job immediately reached out to me. So that was our first point of contact and we had that conversations back and forth. Then we scheduled a call where he asked me the basic questions to actually know if I'm the right candidate. And I told him where I'm working at that time, what I'm doing, my intentions, and he was really interested in me and said I'll be a good fit for the role. Then he pushed me on to the next level, which was the interview with the hiring manager. And let me stop there because there are
Yes.
so many other questions
Before
on the
we get
line.
to the interview stage, I actually want to ask. So when you went on LinkedIn or CV Library, were you looking for like jobs? Did you Google like a list of jobs that sponsor particularly, or were you just shooting your shot to every company that was a job was advertised within the next 30, like within 30 minutes, or were you specific about the list of jobs that sponsor? Because we know not all companies sponsor in the UK.
Yes, of course. UK is a good country where information is at our fingertips. So I searched the internet. There is a list of companies, well detailed by the government that offers sponsorship. I looked at that, but that wasn't my major goal. I used that as well, like sent CVs out to companies. I had friends who followed that or tailored to based on your questions, followed that route and they actually got what they want. But I knew companies that offer sponsorship, but should I limit myself to applying to that? The world is too big because the job that I got, they didn't or it wasn't mentioned that we're going to sponsor you.
Mm.
It's just about you putting yourself out there and don't just limit yourself. Yes, there are lists of companies that do sponsor, but remember, as you are applying to them, that's how so many thousands and millions of people are doing. So I had that as a plan, but again, I just had to put myself out there, make sure that I establish relevant and or meaningful conversation with the recruiter, and it went well.
Essentially, there are different ways to cook a pot of jollof rice. As long as jollof rice is sweet, that's our final goal. So don't just stick to one single route, like you said. You could apply for various jobs and end up being sponsored. So let's go to the interview experience. How was it? How was the interview experience? Not just for the company you now work for, but in general. How was the interview experience?
The interview experience, I would say, I don't want to shoot myself in the foot, but it's generic.
Okay.
You apply to a job, it's you're being replied to by an automated system, of which so many of them does, by the way. So you apply, they send you your confirmation email that, okay, you have applied to this role. And if they don't send you, some may just, if some recruiters may just reach out to you immediately, of which for me, I think it's a touch based kind of, contact where they get to confirm if you actually apply to that role and as well weigh how serious you are into getting into that position. And of course, they ask basic questions. Tell me about yourself. Sometimes some of them might go as far as, um, asking you questions based off your job descriptions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can see on your CV that you have delivered a project for so amount of time and for this particular company. Can you tell me about that? And when they ask you that kind of questions, most times it means that the job role that you're seeking to land is tailored towards that experience that you have on your um what do you call
Your
it?
CV or
On your
LinkedIn
CV.
profile, yeah.
Yeah. So the first bit is them touching base, and after touching base and making sure that you are the right fit, they push you forward to the hiring manager, which has to, sift through the CVs because he doesn't just push you as well. He pushes numerous people to the table of the hiring manager. And based on the hiring manager's discretion, he might say, okay, can you book in time for so number of people that I would like to speak to? So the first stage is they reach out to you, push you forward to the hiring manager. Then of course there will be back and forth between you and the recruiter to schedule an appropriate time to have a preliminary kind of interview with the hiring manager before they move you to the proper level of interview. I don't know if I should go on. So for me, let me just give you a recap. I applied. The recruiter reached out to me. We communicated briefly in my inbox on LinkedIn. Then he called me that day. It was actually at the later part of the day. He called me just for what I've said, asked basic questions, asked about my eligibility to stay and work in the UK. And I told him I'm currently on my postgraduate because I just started that not too long ago. Then the next phase was to push me forward to the hiring manager. Then he was a nice person. He kept keeping in contact with me. And the next phase was I had a phone call from the recruiter and we agreed to a date for my first interview with the hiring manager. He wished me luck. Then my hiring manager, who is a really, really supportive individual, I'll give it to him. We had the first phase. The basic questions were centered around the generic questions, but most of them were tailored towards, because what companies do nowadays is to tailor their questions around their core values, because they need someone who fits into the attitude or the caliber of or integrity of personnel that they need to deliver projects to deliver projects. So we had that first phase of interview with my hiring manager, and I scaled through. Then the final bit was, because my job is basically hands-on. It's not just theoretical. You need to put yourself out there and deliver. And yes, let me digress. Just forgive me. The role of a business analyst has actually morphed into a hybrid system where they require you to have bits and bits of skills of various subject matter experts. Because if you have to go on the market, it is rare for you to see a role of a business analyst advertised as a standalone. Some might require you to play around with data. Some might require you to build dashboards. Some might even require you to come up with UI and UX wireframes. So that's how crazy it is. So employers are always out there looking out for people who can mix and match various unique skills to deliver on their project. So my second interview with my hiring manager was hands-on. I was provided with some sets of data and I was asked to deliver on some dashboards.
So a more technical interview rather
More
than
technical
just behavioral.
interview. So it was a 3-stage process for me. It reached out from the recruiter. I was pushed on to the hiring manager where we had formal interviews. Then you scale through. The final phase was data driven, where you have to deliver dashboards that meet their requirements and KPIs.
Okay, that's perfect. And then he has literally broken the steps down for you guys and even dashed into the next question, which I was going to ask is, how has it been like so far working as an operational business analyst?
Well, I would say it is satisfying, knowing that the end product of whatever project that you are involved with brings about happiness to the customers and as well happiness to the stakeholders or the higher level of management. So every day isn't the same, but again, the job of or the discipline of which you find ourselves as business analyst is one where you have to wear various thinking caps to sit around various ecosystems that you find yourself, because a business analyst in a telecommunications company is quite different from a business analyst who finds himself working in fast moving consumer goods. And both of them differ tremendously from a business analyst who works for the government or works for building development firm. So it is satisfying. And most of the time the project is, there are theoretical knowledge of business analysis that everyone has to come up with to see that the project is being delivered. But again, as you start, because since you're dealing with humans, there are a bit of dynamism that you have to manage people, stakeholder management. So you need to know how to go around people, the right people to ask about. And at times, they might say there's nothing like a silly questions, but you have to really, put in work. Ask questions that you kind of have an idea on what the possible outcomes are. So in general, it is satisfying.
Mm.
At the start of a project, it is overwhelming, but when it comes to
Yeah.
the completion and delivery stage and everyone getting to see the output, you feel really happy with yourself.
Yeah, that's it. So I want to ask for advice. So my channel is heavily focused on migrants who are coming into the UK or who are in the UK and job hunting. What would be your advice to migrants who are currently looking for jobs or have gotten jobs? Because you talked about managing relationships. How has it been difficult for you? Have you been able to manage despite the cultural difference? Because we are coming from Nigeria, most of us, and our work relation in Nigeria is different from working abroad. So I guess this is a two-part question. The first one is, as a migrant, how has it been immersing yourself into the system? And I guess the second question is essentially advice to those who are looking for a sponsored job.
Uh, I started with saying always have a plan. Don't freestyle it. There is no time, although time is in abundance. Have a plan, know what you're coming for. I I focused mainly on getting myself to where I am by self-introspection, identifying my flaws, my weak areas, identifying my places of strength. So I would say have a plan accordingly, know your next steps. They should be smart, specific, measurable, the rest. Then work towards it. Then what I would say is there are so many ways of actually making jollof rice to see that it tastes wonderful. I'm having a brain fart, but
No, that's fine. You
I
can
will,
go
I will,
straight
I will
into.
come, I will come to it. But
That's
just
fine.
have a plan. It's all about planning,
Hmm.
and don't just select schools are out there to get your money. Don't just take any course and be like, okay, at the end of my program, I'll switch. We have so many organizations offering business analysis crash courses for 3 months. Yeah, they tell you the basic things that you want to hear. But again, there is nothing fulfilling like getting a job in your desired MSc category. If you studied data science, why wouldn't you want to work in an industry or for a company where you get to exhibit what you have been taught in class? You learn and they pay you and everyone is happy than you studying something that is not, that doesn't have much job prospect to that country. Just like I said initially, UK is basically IT, healthcare. Then if I'm to throw in any other discipline, I would say construction. Those are the three key areas where I know that there are huge opportunities for employment.
Mhm.
So have a plan from the onset. Don't just pay school fees that you want to jabba. Then you pay your school fees. At the end of the day, you can't fit in the skills that you acquired from your program into the job industry. And what was the first question?
Yes, migrant. So, with our migrant mentality, most of us come, we're calling everybody Sama. We find it hard to relate. We find it hard to ask questions.
Is by their
Respect your
first
elders.
name.
Exactly.
No.
So how has it been as a migrant, like, basically fitting yourself into the system?
I'll give a huge kudos to my work colleagues and the company itself. They have a very welcoming environment.
Mhm.
Nobody really cares much
Oh, yeah.
about how you relate with them, although respect is key.
Mhm.
You address everyone by their first name. Everyone treats you with respect, and we always have our back. Look out for each other. Then don't stress it. They understand personality,
Mhm.
unlike in Nigeria where it's more of like a master and a servant kind of interaction.
Mhm.
Here, they understand emotions, they understand personality. Not everyone will be an extrovert. Not everyone will be an introvert. So it's something that they have contractually found a level playing ground where everyone is willing to express themselves. But the key point and key part is delivering on the outcome of the project. If you are to do that and they see that you're alright, if you're not much of a talkative, no, nobody really gives a worry about that.
Mhm.
You don't need to just be cautious, have self dignity, respect others, and it is reciprocal.
That's very good. So thank you, Obi, for coming onto our channel today.
Thank you, Abby.
Yeah. And guys, if you have any further questions, just put it in the comment section. I'll try to get Obi to answer them, and I'll reply you back on the comment section. So please share this video to everybody you know who is, one, applying for a master's, two, are about to graduate or have graduated and are in the UK, because this video can help them land that job they need to get sponsored. And also follow us on our Instagram channel, Learn with AB, and please subscribe to our channel here on YouTube.
And I forgot to chip in. Always have a plan, and don't wait till the end of your project's completion to start making applications to jobs.
Exactly.
The sooner you are confident and comfortable with the job market, most especially the rejection mails, because everyone gets that. Don't just wait till the end of your project. Apply, start making applications or plans at least, at most, 3 months to the end of your project to develop a thick skin for rejection mails and grow that confidence that you have or you require to have conversation with your hiring manager or the next recruiter. Yes, that's it for me.
Okay. Thanks, guys, and thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Bye.